Jason Aldean, Full Throttle Tour 2025, powered by Patriot Mobile. When the lights come on. Friday, September 19th, Wells Fargo Arena. With Nate Smith. You set my world on fire. And Ray Lynn. Jason Aldean. On sale now at iowaeventcenter.com. Jason Aldean Live.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
Anything going on today? Welcome to Murph and Andy, live on Iowa Everywhere, sports and more, alongside Andy Fales. I'm Keith Murphy, and Andy, we have 40 Division I men's basketball games today, including Iowa State-Cincinnati, which is going on right now.
Yeah, I got 51-44 Cyclones at this point. It's a little tighter in the second half. They were up as many as 13, but yeah, there's a lot going on. It's kind of a practice day as we ramp up toward the NCAA tournament. We got to get good at watching 4 games at once.
For most of the season, Cyclone fans did not expect Iowa State to be playing in this Wednesday game, so the crowd is not there yet. Win this game as the Cyclones should, and certainly it's trended that way the entire game. Iowa State will play tomorrow, and that's when the crowd will show up and get that long weekend started. Brett Yormark, and it's Brett, right? Brett Yormark. Brett and Brent's always throw me. Mm-hmm. Brett Yormark?
Yes.
Not Brent.
Not Brent. Brent Bloom.
Brent Bloom.
Yep.
Brett Favre.
Yeah. Definitely Brett Favre.
Brett McIntyre?
Yep.
Yeah, I know Brett Favre. I'm foggy on all of the other ones.
Yeah, this is Brett Yormark. No
Brett Yormark says 76 is the right number for the NCAA tournament, and he's kind of greasing the wheels, greasing the skids for that happening. It seems like it is going to happen. And we quote Don Allmeyer, as we often do, the answers to all your questions, money. But 76, Yormark says, is the number. So let's get a quickie poll off the top from WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Urbandale.
Do you want to see the NCAA tournament expand to 76 teams? Yes, more equals better, or nah, leave it as it is?
Leave it as it is. I think you could go back to 64 and I'd be okay. Although the play-in or first 4 games, they do get the long weekend started earlier. So 68, fine. We can stay at 68. But we don't need 76, Andy, because you know what's going to happen. Cincinnati, Nebraska, teams like that are going to be in. This isn't going to be more Bradleys, Drakes, and UNIs.
Yeah, I mean, if you could kind of qualify your answer and say, okay, I'll expand the tournament if we're including, these more interesting mid-major teams and have, more opportunities for deserving teams, right? Ones that truly look like they got hosed. Right. And being left out of the tournament, then, I think I would consider it. I think I'm still pretty set with where we are. I wish they would just kind of, make those corrections within the number that we've already got, because they could if they wanted to. But I just think that the more you water this tournament down, I don't like it when businesses say, whether it's a movie production house or whether it's, a corporation that you work for, where they're like, okay, we could come up with something new, or we could just do more of what we're already doing. And then they just are like, oh, we'll just do more of what we're already doing. Well, but then you hurt your product that way. You're not really giving anybody something new. You're just giving them a more watered down version of what they've already got.
And the athletic directors, most of them, and coaches are going to be for this because it's more money. If they get into the NCAA tournament, it's more of the profit sharing. It's more for the conference. Coaches usually have NCAA tournament bonuses. So they're going to be for this, but I think most fans think of the NCAA tournament, March Madness, the big dance, as one of the things in sports that's nearly perfect. Where are you, Andy? Where are you, AD, with the first four? Do you prefer back when it was 64? Or do you like getting it going?
I mean, it's provided an opportunity for my team. It's Drake's only NCAA tournament win in basically my lifetime. That was a lot of fun. I loved that Drake went over Wichita State a few years ago. Other than that, I don't think that it's ever made any difference to me at all.
I like it. I've grown to like it a lot. I do wish it was just teams that were at large. Like I wish this is how they whittled down these Power 5 conference teams. You know, the 500 teams that are getting in. If you get an automatic berth by winning your conference tournament, you shouldn't have to play in the first four, even if that makes you a 16 seed or whatever. That's completely. The only thing I really don't like about it. And so, but other than that, like I think Dayton is a great place for it. They embrace it. They fill that arena.
Agreed.
It's something to watch on Tuesday and Wednesday when, we kind of have this gap after Selection Sunday. So overall, I think it's been really good. And I'm sure we'll grow to love 76 teams and, our kids will bitch when they make it 96 or whatever.
Yeah. It's headed to 350 at some point.
It doesn't feel necessary. And I know there are like stats about how many teams make the postseason, and it's fewer in college basketball than anywhere else because there are 350 teams, but this isn't broken. You don't need to fix it.
And it's so exciting when one of those marginalized teams goes on a run this week or gets into the tournament or gets the automatic bid and just absolutely explodes in joy. It's just it's marvelous.
And even big programs, you catch them at the right time. Making the NCAA tournament is huge. When Iowa State, when they were rebuilding and Fred Hoiberg came in and got them to the tournament pretty quickly, I can remember Iowa State fans being just overjoyed about that.
Sure.
Just making the tournament. And then, of course, for Drake, just making the tournament. Any of the teams now in the Missouri Valley Conference, you just make the tournament. That's something that is so special. I mean, it's hard because most years you don't, and there's only one team in the Valley that basically does for the most part. So there's a lot of people that are left out, but that's what it takes to make something special.
Iowa Everywhere's Chris Williams, co-host of Two Guys, Chris and Chris. He's in Kansas City covering the Cyclones. And Andy, Williams is not afraid to get in front of a mirror and snap off a selfie like this. He's got the Support Local Media t-shirt on, available in the Iowa Everywhere merch store.
Is that what that says?
IowaEverywhere.com. Well, the letters are backwards.
I have to hold it up to a mirror so I can read it. Yeah.
What color would you say these sneakers are? Aqua?
Yeah, it looks like aqua. Yeah. You making fun of his shoes?
But he does look good. Like they'll probably put this up at Game Day Men's Health.
The Game Day Men's Health has got him slimmed way down. Yeah, he does look good.
And he's wearing school colors.
Oh yeah, he's wearing black. Good point. I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't managed to reincarnate his hair, but his body looks very good.
Oh yeah, he does. He looks good. Maybe Iowa State will start wearing black and aqua, like aquamarine. Is that?
Can't believe that's what you're settled on, though. On that picture, everybody was giving him shit about the fact that he didn't know how to reverse the picture so that you could read Support Local Media. I mean,
also when he
isn't that part of the point in posting that damn picture, even taking it?
Yeah,
when he
show off the merch.
It's a live picture too, so you can kind of like if you hold on it, you can see
him
like moving and like the messy bed in his room and all that.
That is a good tip to know too. Eric Herman, who does many cool graphics for us, he pointed out to Chris, and then Chris Hassel, of course, gave examples. But if you have live turned on and you send a photo to somebody and they hold down on it, a woman who does a lot of selfies like this can get the live photo can go.
Yeah.
Or that butt selfie you showed, you could actually see the camera going toward the buttock.
Frame the butt.
Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for Fridays, or today's Sports and More. It's not Friday. Sorry. Wednesday is the day. ISU in progress right now, up 12 and on the way to the quarterfinals, the Big 12 tournament. McCaffery digs in, and no TikTok dancing, all coming up here on Murph and Andy. Guest House Tavern, Northwoods inspired, Midwestern hospitality. High or low since last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Retirement, celebrating 25 years in business. Tim Hawkins and company, busy up there, but they certainly know what they're doing, and this is a really good time for you to get started on your retirement planning, no matter how old you are. We have been we've been talking a lot about our close friend Bryce Miller this week, and everybody's been digging into their pictures, telling old stories about Bryce, and just kind of discovering that. Probably not discovering, it was something we already knew, just how full our phones are of pictures of Bryce. I told you that he has his own folder in my phone.
I think most of us have a Bryce folder.
Apple made it. Yeah, right. And I also had I knew I had other pictures of him and like older ones before I had an iPhone. And those are like buried in an external hard drive at home. And I'm like, man, where are those things? I wish why don't I have that picture? So I started digging this morning a little bit, knowing that I've just got this amazing picture. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to find that. I really don't. But 10 minutes later, I found it. And here it is. This is the greatest fish picture with Bryce that was ever taken. And I took it.
Is that little pond story you were telling where the pond was like the size of the anchor desk over at WHO 13?
Yeah, one of those times. Yeah, we fished several ponds like this, but this is out in like Earlham. So he and I don't even remember when this is. This might be like 2006 or something. I don't know. So he and I are out. He's always got a buddy, right? Well, I got a buddy. It's got some ponds full of bass.
Yeah.
So we like, you can see the gator in the background. We drive. We're in my truck, so we're like driving down dirt road, and then we got to get into a gator to make it the rest of the way to these ponds. And I'm thinking the whole way, I'm like, man,
this isn't going to work.
This better be some pretty damn good pond. And so we finally get there, and this pond is so small that we honestly could cast all the way across it. So we're cutting back on the cast, and we're fishing, and we're both catching some small bass, and we're like, okay, whatever, this wasn't worth it. All of a sudden, Bryce hooks into like this huge, right near the bank, hooks into this huge fish. And I see him and I throw my stuff down. I start running over there to help him. And he just, we don't have a net or anything because we didn't think we needed a net. He just pulls back and just like Conan the Barbarians, this thing up out of the water. Things come flying in the air. And we're like, holy shit. It's a whale. Midair, thing pops off the lure. And we're like, oh, God. And the thing's flipping through the air. It goes face down right into a cow footprint.
Oh, gosh.
That's full of water on the bank, like 3 inches away from the water. Thing goes like straight into this hole. And it like holds him there, and Bryce is able to reach his hand down in the mud and pull this guy out. And he holds him up, and this is after like washing him off and stuff. But this is a largemouth bass, and that's
a big old fish.
It's pretty close. We measured it. It's pretty close to the state record at the time. It wasn't like half a pound away. It was huge. And you show that other picture one more time, Andrew. I think the other picture. Look at that thing. That's what you call
a monster.
Hog. Giant mouth of the thing, like just huge. But that fish's smile is not bigger than Bryce's in these pictures because that's what you call a lifer. as a fisherman. That we never did. We have never stopped talking about that day and that fish. And I found the photo. Oh, I'm thankful for that.
I'm going to skip ahead to the Bryce Miller photo of the day then. I didn't know that was going to be your high. So, AD, if you could find the Bryce Miller photo of the day, this is from your fishing buddy and Bryce's fishing buddy, Ken Pink.
Yeah.
So Bryce spends just a long time trying to pull what he thinks is this monster fish into the boat, and it turns out to be a stick. And in disappointment, Bryce just starts clubbing the stick as if he was putting the fish out of his misery. I don't recall if you were on this.
Well, this has happened many, many times. And every time Bryce hooks into a fish, it's a huge fish. Oh, my God. It's a huge walleye. You're like, all
it's
right,
a stick.
Wait until you get it in the boat, Bryce. We'll see if it's a huge walleye or not, because
This time
sometimes
it
it's just a regular walleye and sometimes it's like a stick walleye.
My high is a simple pleasure in life. Last night after dinner, Jenny made us dinner, and afterwards she brought a little dessert out, and it was just a small cup of Lucky Charms and whole milk. And man, it was fabulous. And I just remember thinking,
wow,
how delicious Lucky Charms are. I try not to eat a lot of Lucky Charms, but I also noticed when we got a second bowl, I feel like the mallows were out of balance. Like Jenny knew we were working toward the bottoms, and she sent the marshmallows her way. That's the best part of the Lucky Charms. You remove them from the occasion, I don't even know that it's a cereal worth eating.
Then it's just alphabets, right?
Yeah.
Alphabets.
And do they taste any different by color? Probably not.
Yeah, the ratio of marshmallows to cereal and Lucky Charms has nearly evened out in my lifetime. It used to be there were just a few. It was mostly cereal, and now it seems like it's almost even. Oh, they do. Yeah.
Interact with others on YouTube. Comments going on right now, although maybe a little slower than usual because the Cyclone game is still going on. Iowa State up 12 with under 5 minutes to go. On X, it's Murph_Andy, and it is all powered by the Cellular Advantage, now with 35 regional locations and a proud partner with U.S. Cellular since 1993. Proud partner with us for at least 10 years or so we appreciate it. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Logier Heating and Cooling, proudly serving the Des Moines metro community for more than 100 years. Big 12 tournament, second round. That is the buzz. Game going on right now. Iowa State against Cincinnati. They're playing on that god-awful court that Brett Yormark insists on being there. Is it Louis Vuitton? Is that the handbag it looks like?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
It's so bad. Now, I will say it's not strobing on my HD television here. Is it strobing for you? I thought it would be strobing.
No, I think the colors, the difference in the colors is not great enough in the Roman numerals and that whatever that gray background is.
Brett Yormark says the Cyclone players, whole team said, man, we love this court, and they probably do, but man, is that an ugly court. I still can't get over they're playing on that court. But back to Iowa State looking pretty good here. Probably the headline from the game is Keyshawn Gilbert is playing and was available, but did not start. Nate Heisey got the start. Andy, we speculated that TJ Otzelberger comment that we're done with offensive agendas, personal offensive agendas. Might be a Gilbert thing. We don't have confirmation of that, but connect the dots.
Well, I mean, they're winning and they're doing well. I guess I would guess that. Gilbert's got 3 points. Then again, Heisey's got 2. So,
yeah. And Gilbert has been injured. He has been injured. It could factor into it as well. But Iowa State playing pretty well today. Turnovers are still high, but out rebounding Cincinnati. Going to win this and then advance to a game we just saw. BYU. That was a double overtime game. I remember watching that in Bryce's hospital room. What night was that? Was that last Wednesday, last Tuesday? What night was that?
I was anchoring because I yelled out, "Shoot it!" and it made it onto the air. Ed and I were
great.
watching in the background. I think it was last Tuesday. Yeah.
Last Tuesday, something like that. But anyway, BYU won that game in double overtime. Could have a rematch tomorrow, 11:30. That'll be a big crowd down there for that. Pretty nice weather to go to the Power and Light District. We mentioned Monday. These are good start times if you're in the Power and Light to eat and drink and party and have fun in the sun.
Yeah, and we say it every year. This is such a great thing in Cyclone Nation. First of all, just having this tournament so close, and then having so much success over the years in this tournament. I mean, just chances are, if you're a Cyclone fan, you've got some great story, great memory about going down to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. I mean, they've just had so many good runs down there. It's stretched over multiple generations. So it's something that a lot of Cyclone fans have in common. It's something that they've made a tradition of. I was trying to set up a few stories over WHO 13 this week, and I had a number of people say, which days are you looking at doing this? And I was like, a Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, oh, those are the only days I can't do it. I'm going to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. I was like, that's right. You're a Cyclone fan. I forgot about that. So they plan their spring around this. I would imagine that, kind of spring. It's almost like spring for them is probably on hold the same way it is for us, where we don't really know where we're going or what we're going to be doing. So we just kind of have to keep a bunch of open dates there. But I think for the most part, I mean, Cyclone fans just sort of, they've got kind of a standing order. They've got like a retainer, a hotel room on retainer, just in case their team wins the first round or first couple of rounds of the Big 12 tournament, they could just run down there.
I've covered the Big 12 tournament when it was 8, Big 8, then 12, then down to 10, and now we're at 16, correct? Yeah.
And I've seen them all in Kansas City too. I mean, they've been in multiple arenas in Kansas City. It seems like it's always just sort of, even though it's changed radically and the teams have changed radically and Iowa State's fortunes have changed, that Kansas City and just kind of the feeling down there has been kind of one and the same.
Commenters are letting us know Keyshawn Gilbert hasn't played in the second half. Apparently, according to John Walters on the radio call, he kind of retweaked that injury. So
okay, that makes
probably
sense.
Just sitting out the second half.
Yeah, he's just had 11 minutes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
And that makes all the sense. If you can let him heal up a little bit more before that big game tomorrow. Still up 9 here with 3:30 to go, so Iowa State should hang on. Also tonight, Iowa, Ohio State, scheduled for 5 p.m. It will not start at 5 p.m. Be prepared for somewhere between 5:15 and 5:30 in Indianapolis. And if Iowa loses, will it be Fran McCaffery's final game? McCaffery said in his Zoom call with reporters that Iowa plans to play in a postseason tournament, expects to either be in the NIT or the Crown Tournament. The Crown Tournament is in Las Vegas. It does not start until March 31st. The first game is 3 weeks away, and then it is through the Final Four. It's through the first week of April. So I don't see Iowa going to the NIT. So if Iowa's in the postseason, I just don't think the NIT is going to invite Iowa. So Iowa would go to the Crown Tournament. I believe that the decision has already been made that Iowa's moving on from Fran McCaffery. So what do you do, Andy? Can you wait? Can you take a chance that somebody else makes a run at one of your prime candidates? Can you wait until April?
Can you? You probably can, but I don't think you do. No, I don't think you do. First
could
of all,
you
it
send
costs
your
money
team
to
to
go
a tournament without their head coach?
No, I don't think so.
So you're
think
saying
you'd want
either
to taste that. I think you just say we're not going to that tournament, whatever. But I don't know that you can read too far into this as far as what you think about McCaffery here, because if I were him, I would say the same thing. I mean, he's the coach there until he's not, and he's planning on coaching as much as he can. He's not thinking about anything else. He's not. I don't think that anybody would say, well, if we don't make the NCAA tournament, I'll just have to wait and see until if I have a job or not. Nobody would say that. No proud coach like he is would say that.
I think he already knows, but
he does. But what I'm saying here is that he is not going to say that.
And I think that you have to have faith in Beth Getz, as there are so many back channel conversations that happen through a middle person, or sometimes not through a middle person, just directly, but off the record and somewhere untraceable. You probably know who you're going after right now and who's plan B and that kind of thing. And if Iowa were to go to this Crown tournament and you're going to go ahead and not make a public declaration of what you're doing for the Iowa basketball program as far as a coach goes, if you're going to wait until Iowa's last loss of the season, not the next loss, but the last loss, if you're going to do that, I think you have to have faith that you probably already have had some conversations, or in those 3 weeks will have some conversations, and you'll have some kind of deal in place, if only with hypothetical conversations about if we were to, would you, that kind of thing. I think that can be done because, AD, I'm guessing you're a guy that doesn't feel like Peyton Sanford should not be able to go play in this Crown tournament if I was changing coaches with several years left on a deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this Crown tournament seems interesting. I would love to see Peyton play more as a Hawkeye. I think he deserves that opportunity. And I know like the buyout situation with Fran, it's like the money goes down on April 1st, I think, somewhere right along there. So I don't know how this all plays out. You're going to have a couple of weeks where the coach you're going to try to go get is already, still playing with his team also. So it's this weird situation. On the other hand, I don't think if Iowa loses tonight, and I expect them to, I don't think you can wait a month with no announcement, right? I don't think you can just kind of pull a Kirk Ferentz and say, well, we'll figure it out when that time comes, because this fan base is going to get really antsy really quickly. I think people are expecting this to happen very fast, and if that's not the case, it's going to just make the situation worse.
So your option chosen would be to let everybody know a change is going to be made, but that Fran McCaffery will continue coaching the team through the Crown tournament.
If that's possible, if he would do that, yeah, absolutely. I think that would be best case scenario.
I think that makes some sense. So there's no doubt. I mean, especially if you can save some money in reaching April 1st. But I mean, it probably depends on who you have your sights set on, what coach you think you want to go after, and how deep they might be in the tournament. If they're available right now, I don't think you would wait at all. You would just go ahead and make the change. It's funny, you used to be a situation where you would make a coaching change and then immediately try to keep your players, try to keep them there, keep them engaged, get their input on a new coach. That's not the situation anymore, right? I mean, you probably count on losing all your players at this point. If you make a coaching change, they're looking for reasons to move as it is, and it seems like the only reason they don't move on is because they like the coach. So if you fire the coach or buy the coach out, I mean, you have to count on probably losing those players. So there isn't any real benefit in taking it easy on them. You just can't count on them to stick with the school.
Iowa State has gone final, a 20-point win over Cincinnati, a decisive, impressive win for the Cyclones in Kansas City, 76-56. Josh Jefferson, the player of the game, with 19 points and 8 rebounds. So sets up a matchup tomorrow, same time, with BYU. Iowa State
said Taman Lipsey went to the locker room with a groin injury. What looks like a groin injury. I don't know if it's a precaution that they're taking there or what, but that's not good. He had a good game today.
In my mind, all groin injuries are serious injuries. Our Carver Hawkeye Arena had its lowest attendance ever for men's basketball, first reported by Scott Doctorman, who's on Legends and Listeners here on Iowa Everywhere. Scott also works for The Athletic. It is worse than Todd Licklider's final year right before he got fired. And then the Cedar Rapids Gazette yesterday reported that across the entire season, Iowa men's basketball capacity was 34%. So 1 out of every 3 seats was filled. That is the lowest attendance ever for men's basketball at Carver Hawkeye Arena. It's the lowest even going outside and before the days of Carver Hawkeye Arena until at least 1965, which is 60 years ago. So it's time. It's going to happen. Respect the players' passion to keep playing so hard for Fran McCaffery, and that he is still coaching these guys and doesn't want to stop and saying all the things. He's digging in and making plans for next year and still recruiting and all of that. But more than anything else, Andy, the apathy is just something you can't let this continue or just give up on the men's basketball program.
No, this befalls any coach, no matter how popular he is. If he's not reaching the fan base, if the fan base has grown apathetic and stopped showing up for games, particularly seats that are occupied by season ticket holders. People that have paid for the tickets and they're not going.
They're not going anyway. Yeah, the paid attendance is much higher than the actual attendance.
It's that you can't unring that bell. I mean, that's what you need. If you're Beth Getz at this point, you're looking for signs, right? I mean, you're looking for signs that are not open to interpretation. They're just obvious. They're very easy to make a judgment on, and they don't get much more clear than that. The fan base is checked out. That, if you were to keep Fran McCaffery, what would that be like trying to sell tickets the next year? And you've seen, we've heard that he's got good recruits coming in, but who knows how long. What are you going to give them? What are they? Are they youngsters? Are they transfers? Would they be here more than a year? Would they work out anyway? I mean, you just can't count on anything like that. I mean, and that's something that you get excited with a coach who's in like his 3rd year at a program, not his 17th, 15th.
15th. Yeah. 15th, and the recruits part is something that was a bigger deal years ago. Now, as Drake has shown more than any team in the country, and as TJ Otzelberger showed 4 years ago, you can put together a team quickly with transfers, and the next coach is probably going to embrace the transfer portal more. We won't go back over the same ground, but you make all these points in What's Bugging Andy and make them well, that you can't just change the coach at Iowa men's basketball. You have to change other things too. You have to change the NIL. You have to have a coach because Fran McCaffery has done some really good things at Iowa. He took over the program at a low, and they started winning some games, and he made some NCAA tournaments. Never got out of the first weekend, but they did win, I think, 4 NCAA tournament games in his 15 years. They won 1 Big Ten tournament. They didn't win any conference championships, but he had above average success, but he didn't help himself be considered for another year here at all, because he didn't go out and sell the program. He's not doing those extra things to make people want to be Iowa men's basketball fans. He certainly has his defenders, especially the players who seem to embrace and love playing for Fran McCaffery, but he just doesn't have enough goodwill to overcome Carver Hawkeye Arena being 2/3 empty for the entire season.
Nope, that's just a bad visual, and everybody knows the reason behind it.
West Virginia football coach Rich Rodriguez admits that he's banned his players from dancing on TikTok. He said it's a bad look and it just doesn't fit our image. So he said, don't dance on TikTok. I kind of love this. When does somebody not look stupid on a team when they try to dance? There's probably some exception. I probably only get shown the ones where the people look ridiculous.
They look stupid to you and to me, but they don't look stupid to each other.
Yeah.
And it's weird to specify dancing, right? Like they can be on TikTok. But
isn't that most of what TikTok is? People dancing?
No.
That's my impression.
It may be
cooking
your
and
maybe you're
setting off fireworks and stuff.
But it's not that he's banning players from TikTok, from using TikTok or posting on TikTok, just dancing on TikTok. That's the thing he does.
Seems kind of arbitrary.
It does a little bit. And Kirk Ferentz experienced trying to keep this generation off social media in any way, shape, or form. And you just can't. Don't you think all coaches, if they had their way, would just say no posting during the season? Just ignore that stuff. Don't log on. Don't post.
Absolutely.
But you can't do it.
Yeah, you can. And it's not just that it's like, that's what young people do. That's what the world does now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what everybody does. I mean, you will not, this is not a generation gap thing. It's understanding how the world interacts and communicates amongst itself for good or bad. It's just, it's basically like trying to shut off the wind or something. I mean, it's just not, you could create a little wind block or something, but you're not changing the whole culture. It's still going to be around these guys all the time. And what you're basically doing in that situation is signing yourself up for hall monitor duty. Against something that, I mean, you're trying to empty the ocean with a bucket, right? I mean, there's no way you're going to win this. It's going to drive you nuts. You're going to have to find some staff member to do it. He's not going to want to do it. They're not going to listen to him. You're going to end up having to distract your program.
And it's most of us.
Keep up with this.
It's most of us. I mean, I catch myself sometimes like, what am I doing? I need to get off my phone. And last Tuesday morning when I arrived, one of the ways I knew right away that that Bryce was in really bad shape is his brother Brian told me, Bryce hasn't even asked for his phone. And he's a guy that's just on his phone constantly for work and other reasons. And by the time I left, he still had never asked for his phone, because we become, it's like almost another part of our body here. We get so connected to our phones. It is ridiculous. Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Look at that.
Do you think that tank is full of beer?
I hope so. In my head, I always think it is.
I hope it is.
I hope it is,
I don't think it is, but I want to believe
it's probably not full of like drinkable beer. Right? It's full of beer somewhere in the process.
Andy, what's the Canadian movie?
Look at that lady
where they fall
throwing
into the
back
vat of
that
beer?
giant Strange Brew.
Strange Brew. And then don't they pee out a fire?
Yeah, Rick Moranis is drowning. They try to drown him in this giant vat of beer, but he drinks it all. And he's like huge, and the fire department picks him up and takes him to a fire, and he pees out the fire.
That's heroic right there. Let's get some more.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Patio too over at Either Or. Man, oh man. All right. Elsewhere in Des Moines, other exciting stuff. Waveland Golf Course is open. Not just for go fool around for a while. It's open for the season now. They just went ahead and opened it. Yeah. Ben Page just got it all cleaned up and they're open for the season. It's really funny seeing guys out there playing golf in stocking caps, and the course is just brown.
I guarantee you there's some guys out there in shorts too.
Oh yeah. Shorts and stocking caps.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Brenton Skating Plaza is closed for the season.
It's done.
One door open, other door closed.
It closed for the year,
it's
even
done.
when the bomb cyclone hits us.
Yeah, it didn't say a whole lot about that bomb cyclone.
Here.
I think it's.
I might have made that
like
up.
a thunderstorm.
I just like saying bomb cyclone.
He mentioned it, but it didn't sound like it applied to us, and it sounded like it was also kind of just like decreasing in likelihood. The Ingersoll Dinner Theater, that shitty, empty, beat-up building that's been sitting in the exact same state for what seems like 50 years.
Basically a parking lot for Manhattan's Deli.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of a pain for the Greenwood Lounge. The Greenwood Lounge... That's how bad it is. It's making the Greenwood Lounge look bad.
The Greenwood Lounge is an all-time dive bar.
It is a Des Moines treasure. I love it, but it is not a looker.
I went there with Bryce once, and it was like cheers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Bryce.
Hey Bryce.
Hey.
Yeah, and if you go in let's say you're watching this show from another state. You haven't been to the Greenwood Lounge since 1991. It looks exactly the same.
Good news, the prices are the same.
Yeah, the glasses are the same size.
Yeah,
glasses are same.
Same glasses.
Cobwebs are the same.
Yeah.
The
bathroom
paintings
is the
on the
same.
wall. The
Yeah.
dog playing poker.
They
the
may
same.
have to like improve things a little bit now that the Ingersoll Dinner Theater though is going to get all fixed up, and this is a really cool historic building, and it's, you know, back in the heyday, I think it was really, really popular. That was before I was alive, but I'll give them a chance here. I was hoping that something cool would happen to this, but it's
We've
nice.
had some false starts though, Andy.
They have. Yeah. It's we've heard this before. There's a plan though. It's going to reopen this fall after extensive renovations. Hopes to open in November. Headliner announcements expected in just the coming months. So I guess they're going to really get on it. The city of Des Moines has to cut $17 million from its budget this year to meet new state restrictions on property taxes. So it's going to have to cut a bunch of jobs and cancel some services. I think we've all heard the talk about maybe having to close Birdland Pool, close some of the other pools, or just trying to save money here and there. Well, one of the services that has already been cut is insect control. So the city of Des Moines will no longer spray for mosquitoes. Prepare for a buggier 2025. You know, those trucks that drive up and down and spray the mosquitoes. You do have the conspiracy theorists that think that, you know, they're secretly killing us all with that. They're trying to
the government is killing us
down.
with mosquitoes.
The Des Moines
Mosquitoes
Street
don't-
Department is killing us. The Parks and
Seed
Rec
clouding
Department.
or cloud seeding.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes generally don't bother
Chemtrails.
me much. That means
Well,
I'm not
you
sweet.
might want to, eat those words until the end of this year. Well, it might change a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. Months after ditching its open seating policy, Southwest Airlines is ending its most recognizable perk, free checked baggage. Airline will begin charging for the first and second checked bags beginning on May 28th. Southwest announced this yesterday. However, members of its A-list loyalty program or those traveling on a business fare will be exempt from the fees. I love this too. Here's from the CEO, Bob Jordan. Quote, we have tremendous opportunity to meet current and future customer needs.
I love that word opportunity. I've heard it a few
Attract new
times.
customer segments we don't compete for today. What customer segments are those, Bob? The ones that want to pay for checked baggage?
Yeah, we're going to go after those people that are tired of getting their bags on for free.
Well, good luck with that, man. That's a tough demographic to compete for.
Got an exciting opportunity for you.
Seismic shift for Southwest, which has always offered free checked bags since the airline started about 60 years ago. They kept the policy in place when its competitors started adding and increasing fees. That started back in the early 2000s, and they stuck with that.
Do they still do that thing where you go on and you're uncomfortable picking a seat and
No,
no
the
one
cattle
wants to
call
pick
is
the middle seat?
no, that stopped. That one stopped, and now
I haven't
this
been
one
on
is stopped.
Southwest lately. That's
But
I
this
think
was-
it's good they stopped it.
We don't do a lot of Southwest out of here. I mean, St. Louis is a big Southwest hub. I let my friends down there fly nothing but Southwest, but they all like not paying for the checked bags. Analysis of Google search data for 2025 reveals the most searched for text abbreviations in Iowa and in the United States. Let's see if you guys know these. I don't think I did know most of these. The most searched for text abbreviation in Iowa is WYO.
WYO. Would you open?
No,
Where are you?
Nope.
at?
Where-
I don't
no.
know.
What you on?
What you on?
What you on? Yeah, like
Like, what are you doing?
drug are you on? Yeah, what's
Okay.
wrong with you? So maybe something like that. Number 2, PMO. That's put me on.
Put me on. Okay. No, don't know that one either.
WYLL. you know that
WY.
Text abbreviation.
Would you like love?
No. I like that one, though. This is
good.
what you look like. So
What you look like?
we are sounding more and more like cavemen.
Yeah.
We
Oh, yeah.
are, right? Yeah, we're
yeah.
sounding more and more like cavemen. And didn't they just
look
text
like?
each other also, like writing stuff on the walls?
I
Yeah.
have to tell our kids, like, could you do me a kindness and throw in a capital letter and a period once in a while? I'd really appreciate it.
I love the Winnebago man there. ATP is at this point. ICL, I can't lie. GTS, go to sleep.
Oh,
I guess that's what you say to somebody when they're acting a fool on
when they're
text
making
message.
that booty call, that unwanted booty call.
Here's the first one.
GTS.
The first one I actually knew is number 7, TTYL.
Yeah.
TT,
Talk to you
TTY.
later.
Talk to you
Oh,
later.
talk to it. Okay. That makes
ML is my love. OTP, not OPP.
sense. No, that's a
OTP,
different text.
One true pairing. Okay.
Sounds like something Jim Nance would say.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then WTV, which is whatever, and it's barely any shorter than just typing the actual word. Let's move on. From Men's Journal, 3 pickup lines that actually work. Okay?
All right.
Think about these. Hey, I couldn't help but notice you have a stunning smile, and I couldn't leave without coming over to introduce myself.
Okay, I kind of get this because it's a real compliment, makes you feel good, but it doesn't quite cross over into creepy.
Yeah.
Wow, you've got a great ass. Something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. They've got a few more. You're way too cute to be waiting alone. Can I buy you a drink?
That
Andrew,
seems
that,
like a
that
lot.
go too
but
far?
No, I
Yeah.
think you're okay there.
You are way
I
too
think it
cute
worked
to
for
be waiting
AD.
alone. Yeah.
It worked for me. It worked for Judy when she approached me.
I mean, people go to
Same.
bars to meet people. That would make sense. And then finally, you look so familiar. Oh, that's bullshit right there. As soon as they say that, you look so familiar. Has anyone told you you look like Hailey Bieber? She's my celebrity crush, so I had to come over and say hello.
I mean, this is pretty specific.
That's a
it could
lot.
be. It could be any celebrity.
She better look somewhat like the celebrity. And you're also like, hey, you're almost as hot as the woman I think about. You want a date?
Okay, and then I've spiced up this list with some pickup lines that should work.
All right, let's hear these.
Probably don't. Girl, you got to be jelly because jam don't shake like that.
Hey,
I bet it's worked.
yeah.
Are you a parking ticket? Because you got fine written all over you.
I like that.
All right, and finally, hey, do you like Star Wars? Because Yoda won for me.
I think these 3 might actually work better because they're so stupid that you don't even pretend that you're not using a pickup line. You just go in.
That's your more, everybody.
All right. Grimaldi's fan photos come into Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. Grimaldi's coal-fired brick oven pizza. Stop by the West Des Moines or District of
Hey,
Prairie
we
Trail
got Northern
Ankeny
Iowa there.
locations. Yeah, what do we got going?
Northern
you know,
Iowa in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
You and I in the house.
Still looking for some of those Hawkeye fans. So
Yeah, what do you think that
I mean,
says?
if you're
Still
in
looking for-
Indianapolis, if you're in Indianapolis, send me a picture. I promise you will get a Grimaldi's gift card.
That's a $50 promise you
There
just
are-
made. That's a $50 Grimaldi's gift
There are
card.
Cyclone
nobody
fans
there.
fighting amongst themselves to win
There's
these
nobody
gift cards
there.
right here. Come on, Hawkeye fans.
All right, Andy, I believe you have to go do a Drake Bulldog story.
Yeah, I'm going to go talk to Ben McCollum here.
Hey,
Looking
We
forward
will
to
let
that.
you out, and
You want
we
me to
will
tell him you
welcome
said hi?
Please,
tell
yeah,
him he'd look really good in black and gold.
Don't tell him.
Not there's no chance in hell I'm telling him that.
All right. I believe you. All right. Thank you, Andy. Look forward to that story. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy leaves and Mr. Movie enters.
It's time to go to the movies with Mr. Movie, Mike Woody. Presented by P&P Small Engines.
P&P Small Engines tune up the old beast or trade in for a new mower. They're ready for spring with mowers set up and several on sale. Get up to 20% off on commercial mowers. Hi, Mr. Movie.
All kinds of reasons to go see Jeff.
How do you feel about Andy ducking out right as you come in?
Well, I'm going to take it personally, I got to say.
Don't take it personally. He's
I'm reaching for the Christmas card list right now, and just
he's so excited about his Drake Bulldogs, and he should be. What a season.
He should be. You're right.
It's really cool. All right, out of the box.
I agree with Andrew on the black and gold, though.
Jeez,
I
saw Jeff Goodman today say that McCollum is a favorite to get the Indiana job.
Yeah. What a jump that would be in 13 months from D2 to Indiana.
We'll see how this all plays out. Drake fans are used to being on the edge when their coach is good. Out of the box is in honor of Kieran Culkin. And before, he was really annoying in A Real Pain, which is a good movie. I've seen it in the past few weeks. And it's two cousins who are really close as kids. And then they grow apart. One gets married. That's Jesse Eisenberg. And Kieran Culkin is the other cousin. And now they're not very much alike at all, but they go to Poland to honor their late grandmother.
Right.
And it's alternately dramatic and full of humor. But Kieran Culkin, by design in this movie, he's kind of, there's two kinds of real pain here. There's of course, the Holocaust pain, and then there's this guy is a real pain, right, Mike?
He is a real pain. It's it got a lot of buzz. It really did. And I mean, it was a good movie. I didn't think it was nearly as great as everybody said it was, but lots of people connected with this movie.
Yeah, it was a B plus for me, I guess. Bill Maher had me feeling like it was going to be an A plus, and I didn't respond to it on that level. Sounds like you didn't either. It was certainly good. And Jesse Eisenberg, I believe, wrote, directed it, did everything, starred in it. AD, have you seen A Real Pain yet?
Yeah, I liked it a lot, but this is the kind of movie, like, my wife and I will watch movies, and she'll be like, oh, this is your kind of movie, because there's a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot that, like, actually happens. It's really more just about people talking, and I like those kind of movies. I also like both of these guys a lot. So I went into it really primed to like it, and I did like it a lot. For me, it was probably a B plus, A minus. And I was glad to see he won the Oscar. That was a cool moment for him.
It is good. If you're somebody like me that suffers from secondhand embarrassment, there are times the way Culkin acts, like The Train comes to mind, where I'm just so uncomfortable watching him behave that way.
And
but
if
then
you're a person,
sometimes he behaves well.
If you're a person like Jesse Eisenberg, who kind of goes with the flow and doesn't want to cause any waves, and then you see this other guy just acting crazy, and it all seems to work out for him, right? Like, the guy he insults comes back and is like, I really needed to hear that, and you get why you'd be so frustrated being friends with this guy.
Yeah, it's a different version of Del Griffith and Neil Page. The odd couple. All right, so we're going here. It's a very narrow, out of the box topic, but it's an actor or actress. I guess they're both considered actors, but the in a role they won an Academy Award for, but were annoying. And Kieran Culkin is the catalyst for this. And I'm going with Jessica Tandy in Driving Miss Daisy. I realize by the end of the movie, she comes around, but she is so annoying in the first hour or so. She won't let the poor man use the bathroom to make water. And she's always whining and complaining. And you couldn't blame him if he just took the car, drove off, and never came back.
It's a good choice. I mean, she did win the Oscar, did she not?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she won, and he didn't. And he was great, as Morgan Freeman almost always is. In many ways, he kind of carries the movie, but he didn't win. She did, and it did win Best Picture. And it's a great movie, and she does come around by the end in many different ways.
Maybe we could do next week Morgan Freeman's worst movie.
Oh,
I mean, there can't be more than 2 or 3.
Jeez, he's made a lot of movies too. He's not quite Michael Caine status, but he's made a lot of movies. Andy's choice was Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, which was the catalyst for this. Mr. Movie, what do you go with? Who do you go with?
I'm going to go back a couple of years. Brendan Fraser, who we've known for years. I mean, wasn't he Robin with George Clooney in the Batman and Robin movie?
No, that was Chris O'Donnell.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then
But
he's
Brendan Fraser, many people got to know him at first kind of with the Mummy movies.
Yep, he was in The Mummy. He was in G.I. Joe. I mean, so he's done a lot of action films. But then came The Whale. And I know most people are going to think that's what he that was not makeup. That was him. He was that big.
Really?
Talk about method acting. Yeah.
That can't be good, dude.
No,
get
that's
that
not
big
good for your system.
Oh, yeah.
But he plays a man who's obviously morbidly obese, and he's homebound because he can't fit out the darn door. And he was brilliant in this role. And you wouldn't think of him in that role, but he was nominated and won the Oscar that year. Holy cow.
Wow. Yeah. And got like a 10-minute standing ovation from his peers. It wasn't at the Oscars, but it was at one of the awards ceremonies because it was just a really nice comeback story because he disappeared for a while. AD, you might be able to help me with this. Mr. Movie, you probably can too. I first noticed Brendan Fraser in a movie about a private school where Matt Damon plays like just a dick. And Brendan Fraser is kind of, for a while, it's unknown to his teammates and classmates that he's Jewish.
School Ties.
Good movie.
Good movie. And a lot of really good young actors in that.
Yeah, and I'm sure it holds.
Good Will Hunting and.
Yeah, I'm sure it holds up well because it was a period piece when it was made. It's like I think it's the 60s, maybe the 70s, but it wasn't from the same time it was made. All right, AD, what do you have for annoying Academy Award performance?
Yeah, I really like the movie Marriage Story from a handful of years ago, where Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are a couple and they're getting a divorce. And at first they really want it to be amicable and easy and non-confrontational, and then these lawyers get involved and they just screw the whole thing up, and they make it difficult at every turn. They turn that two against each other. You're just screaming at don't listen to the lawyer. Just get out of this situation. The lawyers are played by Laura Dern and Ray Liotta, who's been a guest on the Murph and Andy show in the past. And both are annoying because, again, you want them to stop messing with this situation. But Laura Dern's the only one who won an Oscar, so I give this one to her.
She won an Oscar for this? I didn't
Best Supporting
that.
Actress.
That's kind of a highbrow pick there, AD.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, geez. I saw that too, and man, that is. You're right. You start out thinking they can patch this up, they can work this out, and then the lawyers get involved, and it just gets nasty.
Yeah.
Weekend box office. So Mickey 17 did well. People went to see this.
Well, 19 million, yes.
Is that below expectations? These days, that seems like a pretty good start for a...
compared to the last few weeks, though, we've had some big numbers.
Okay.
So...
All right, so that was number one. Captain America: Brave New World is kind of a relative dud, made $9 million second week. Then Last Breath, which I still haven't seen but would like to see, makes just $4 million. So let's get to Mickey 17 now with Mr. Movie Mike Woody.
Well, this is the guy that directed, was it Paradise or
Parasite, which I liked a lot, but you did not like. It won Best Picture. It
was very difficult to watch. And so here he's got a movie. It's a big movie. Parasite was not. It was kind of a small movie. And he plays a guy it's futuristic. So in the future, you can die and be revived. And then what they do is they use you as what's called an expendable. So if there's a very big job that needs to be done, but it's dangerous, you send in an expendable, and even if they die, they drag them back to the shop and they put them in a machine and they print out the next copy.
Okay.
So he is Mickey 17, so he's number 17.
Got it.
And, so he's dying and coming back and dying and coming back in this crazy world that they live in. I don't know. It just got weirder and weirder as it went along, and you go out on the planet that they're on, and there's creatures, and they're trying to kill the creatures, and it was kind of messy.
My son Cade saw it because this director, he's a fan of the director, and Cade does love Parasite, but he said in this particular movie, Cade felt like there was a lot of interesting ideas out there, but they did not come together. It was a little bit
the
of
execution was a little rough.
Okay, so what's a grade here?
It's a C-. It's
C-.
And it starts really well because the concept is really fun. But then when 17, they think he's died or they want him to die, so they print 18, and then 18 and 17 are arguing, and then there's a threesome with a friend there, and what is going on here? So
if you've seen one of these movies that Mr. Movie reviews each week, drop your letter grade from A+ to F over in the comments so we can get some other opinions out there. We also like to give out the opinions of our listeners.
Yeah, I'd like
viewers.
to know if somebody saw it and loved it.
Let us know if you liked it.
I don't want to sit next to him at a restaurant, though.
Oh, boy. Most of the comments now are school ties, school ties, school ties. And when you're trying to think of a movie, we always get help with that. School ties. Night of the Zoopocalypse, which I mistakenly thought was an R-rated horror movie, and it turns out to be animated.
Yeah. This is called a money grab.
And this is not Zootopia 2, right?
Right.
That's a different, because I know that's coming this year, and I know my kids are super excited about that. We really like Zootopia 1.
That will be worth seeing. This, it was annoying is what it was. There's nothing, I can't tell you one thing about it that, was worth taking the kids to. I think the kids are going to be bored to tears with this movie. And parents will probably be out at the concession stand for a long time, if they're lucky.
Jeez, you don't usually crap on these animated family movies.
Well,
You must.
I know. I love a good animated movie, but
so what do you grade this?
It's a D.
A D, as in don't go see it. Dang.
Don't tell Russell I said that.
No, I won't. We don't need Russell coming after us.
No.
By the way, one of the comments here, Todd Voss writes that Brendan Fraser wasn't that big. Some of it was prosthetics.
Well, yeah,
role.
I'm sure some of it was, but he was.
But he was
a lot
really
of weight.
heavy. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Encino Man with Pauly Shore. Yeah, I remember that too.
Ooh.
That was when Pauly Shore was huge. Coming up, and I don't mean size. I mean he was a big star.
Yeah.
Next week, Novocaine. Last night I saw the preview for this for the first time. So Jack Quaid is a man. Is this Dennis Quaid? And
I don't know if it's
Meg Ryan's son?
Randy or Dennis. I don't know.
Dennis's son, yeah.
Dennis's son.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's with Meg Ryan?
I believe it is, yeah. Because he was on The Boys, that show, The Boys.
That was popular. So he can feel no pain. So what they put him into action as a hero?
I think so. And you can stab him, you can shoot him. He may die, but he's not going to feel it.
He won't feel it. Okay. So Novocaine is the right title for that.
Yes.
This could be really good, like Mr. Nobody, or it could be terrible. You got a feeling?
I do.
He doesn't.
We'll talk about it next week, though.
All right. You've already seen it?
No.
Oh, you've got a feeling.
But I have a feeling that I'm going to hold till next week because I want to see if I was right.
What do you think, AD? Is this going to turn out to be a sleeper? That I can't believe it. This crazy movie is good, or do you think it's going to be a mess?
No, I think it's going to be good. I like these. Okay. The pictures look good. I like Jack Quaid. I think I'm going to give this a good. I hope it's good.
Black Bag is with Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett. So that sounds like a highbrow movie.
That looks really good. And they're married. Somebody has done something that is not proper. So they ask the other one to investigate, and it may lead to having to kill the other.
Kind of shades of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Last Supper. And is this the Last Supper?
this is the Last Supper. It's Jesus saying goodbye to the apostles, and he's blessing that guy right there. But
It's timely.
it is very timely. You're going to get a lot of these Christian films this time of year because of the Easter season and all of that stuff going on. So this is not the last time you will see the Last Supper.
And most of these movies do pretty well. They have
They do
a
very
target
well.
audience that shows up to support.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Russ this morning, and he said these Christian films, these people show up to see these films and they love them. So there's a definite need for these.
They the same audience may want to think twice about seeing Opus, which is with John Malkovich.
Yeah, horror movie, and John Malkovich.
I recognize the co-star of this. She's terrific in The Bear.
Yeah, Iowa Debris. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
she's hosted SNL and she won an Emmy or two as well,
A couple
right?
of them, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna say Sue watches The Bear. I don't watch The Bear, so I don't
it will
know.
make you anxious. That's for sure.
Okay.
The Day the Earth Blew Up sounds upbeat.
It's a Looney Tune movie.
Oh, okay.
So
Maybe
now,
it is upbeat.
there's the kids' movie you probably want to go see.
Is Porky Pig and
Porky Pig,
Daffy
Pig and
Duck.
Daffy Duck. I mean, I'm sure Bugs is in there and the rest of the gang. So that's more my speed.
these animated characters are a lot like the guy in Novocaine. They don't feel pain. I mean, they get an anvil dropped on their head, they just get right back up.
And they don't go away, man. Those people have been working for years and years and years, decades. So
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Movie. Presented by P&P Small Engines. Great to see you. You enjoy the movies.
I will try to.
He'll report back next week. Thank you. Time for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto brings us Throwdowns, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Crescent, an authorized dealer of both Firestone and Bridgestone tires. Murph, the Iowa State men, had a mildly disappointing regular season, but the most important games are now still in front of them. What would constitute a successful season for Iowa State?
Well, I think they are having a successful season. They're not having the dream season to this point, but they're going to be a 3 seed. They just won a game by 20 points at the Big 12 tournament. I mean, you're in a pretty good place when anything about this could feel mildly disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
I think for it to be considered successful to expectations, they need to get into the Sweet 16, and then anything beyond that will make it one of the most special seasons in the history of Iowa State athletics. Get to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. But I think they have to get to the Sweet 16 to not feel like this disappointed people.
Does anything that happens these next few days in Kansas City affect that at all? Like, I mean, could they lose tomorrow, get to the Sweet 16, and it feels the same as if they win, the whole thing in Kansas City?
Like, let's go polar scenario. They lose tomorrow, but they get to the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
I think that means more to the average Cyclone fan than winning the Big 12 tournament again and then losing in the second round of the tournament.
All right, the Iowa women finished the regular season strong, and there's hope for another March run, but this team doesn't feel like a Final Four caliber team. So what would constitute a successful season for the Hawkeyes?
I think get to that second round of the NCAA tournament. Much like the men, I think the Iowa State men that we just talked about, I think the Hawkeyes have already had a successful season. You're moving on from the most successful player in the history of women's college basketball. Certainly the most, she had the most assists and most points, took Iowa teams to 2 championship games. In time, people are going to realize how difficult that was and how unlikely it was. So you're moving on from Caitlin Clark, but also Gabby Marshall and Kate Martin and head coach Lisa Bluter. And you still have essentially a top 25 team that's beaten a top 5 team, won some games. They're going to the tournament. I think they win that first round game, and anything beyond that is gravy. I think it's been a good transition year. And maybe most importantly, AD, the fans are still there.
Yes.
I mean, it is a question moving forward once there's a little bit of fade from Caitlin Clark. Will the season sell out again next year? I don't know, but it was something else that it sold out again this year. And those fans are finding new favorite players and all of that. But as we go into the NCAA tournament, the women's tournament, which starts next week, there's no question there's less buzz this season, not just in Iowa, but across the country without Caitlin Clark in it.
Yeah, and I do think it's unfair, but I do think a Sweet 16 is again not successful or unsuccessful, not a failure or a success, but I think short of a Sweet 16 is going to feel a little disappointing for most Hawkeye fans. I don't know that this team has it in them. I think they're going to be about a 6 seed in the tournament, so they're going to have to pull an upset in that second round if they want to get to the second weekend.
They're peaking at the right time, though.
They're capable of doing it. They've had some late game issues, and again, I think just because of how successful they've been the last couple of years, short of a Sweet 16 is going to feel slightly disappointing, even though that's not really fair to this year's group or to Jan Jensen.
We all get spoiled pretty easily.
Yes, we do. All right, Murph, do you prefer your pizza be cut into squares or triangles?
Oh, absolutely triangles. I mean,
Really?
that's how I think of a slice of pizza. These other things I feel like were learned in the lunchroom and somebody just couldn't break the habit.
Ooh, see, I like especially like a frozen pizza. Cut that into square. I like it. It feels like I'm eating more when I'm eating more small pieces. Also, the little corner, and this is kind of weird because they are little triangles, but the little corner pieces that you can just kind of pop in your mouth, those are that's pretty money.
Jenny is with you because she grew up going to Noah's, and they just cut those squares. But
absolutely.
I'm always mildly disappointed when it shows up and it's not in triangles.
See, but the Grimaldi's pieces are so huge. You get that like fold and that I like that. I would miss that. I like a little bit of both, but
at the Iowa Everywhere party, I needed about 9 more slices of the Grimaldi's pizza.
Yeah, we all did.
I needed more. All right. That's Throwdowns, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Throwdowns.
That's Throwdowns. It's time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
Yeah, it's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I go to the one in Ankeny in the Prairie Trail neighborhood. You can go to West Des Moines on University, North Liberty if you're in that side of the state. If you're outside of the state, hey, find your local game day and let them know you heard about it on Iowa Everywhere. That word does get back to the local game days, and they appreciate that. And
do that with everybody.
If you need to know what it does for you, just look at Chris Williams. Look at the transformation he's had. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I've started to work out again.
You're like, hey, I'm at Game Day Men's Health. If you need to see how this works, look at Chris Williams.
Yeah, exactly. The last time I got that skinny, I was in the hospital for a week.
Yeah, we don't need that again.
No, we don't. All right, Murph, last night, I don't know if you saw this. The Pacers were down by 3 with just over 3 seconds left. They ran this really cool play, got Tyrese Halliburton open in the corner. Not only does he make the 3, he gets fouled by Giannis and makes the free throw to win the game. The Cyclone legend with the winning play for the Pacers. It was a really cool play. If you haven't seen it, you should. Here's how it sounded in a few different languages.
Vem aí, Halliburton de 3, caiu!
E a falta?
3 pontos e a falta!
¡Uy! ¡Mire lo que sucedió! En forma apretada, señoras y señores. De una forma incómoda aparece Halliburton para poner justamente el marcador.
자, 할리버튼인데요.
할리버튼 던집니다.
와! 들어갔습니다.
반칙이에요, 반칙. 이야!
와, 말도 안 되는 샷입니다.
아니 이게 어떻게 되는 거예요? 와!
And
That's
shout out
great.
to A. Terry on Twitter or X who alerted me to that this morning. I love those foreign language calls.
Yes, if you know something that would make a good AD Squared, please.
Yeah, hit us up.
Iowa, Murph and Andy, Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. AD loves to have the help. Quickie poll results are presented by WCI Pools and Spas.
Do you want to see the NCAA tournament expand to 76 teams like Brett Yormark does? No, leave it as it is. 94%, just 6% want to see more teams in the big dance.
Is water wet? comes in at like 92%.
But
they're going to change this.
It feels like the thing that we have as sports fans in America that's just completely perfect. It's not broken. You don't need to fix it. It's actually gotten more interesting as the 14, 15, 16 seeds are able to fill out their rosters a little better and compete in those games. And so you don't need to change this. Don't mess this up. Make a weird looking bracket. Come on, we don't need that.
More money. Follow the money. Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here live on Iowa Everywhere. I know some of you joined mid-show after the Cyclones beat Cincinnati by 20 points. We'll play BYU tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. It helps us. We appreciate it. We're back Friday. We hope you are too.